or stomacher, blue stones with diamond surrounds. None of these pieces were valued enough to be documented in the imperial portraits upstairs. None of them appeared in photographs of imperial jewelry. They were blessedly anonymous. But the temptation to take one of the less modest, more dangerous pieces. The itch to hold an emerald as big as a hen's egg, to feel 200 carats of sapphires set in a medieval buckle, to slip a handful of diamond bracelets into a pocket, to ease a 20-carat ruby ring into the hidden compartment behind your belt. It had happened more than once in the past. A swift movement beyond the reach of the flashlight, the sudden weight of wealth tucked against a thigh or belly. Amid all the kilos of glitter, who would miss an ounce or two? It happened again tonight. One of the men was methodically stealing every fifth piece of jewelry that lay tangled in a long drawer. When he was finished, he opened another drawer. This one was orderly, with each piece numbered, tagged, and set in its own niche. "Not that one, shithead," hissed the woman. "Can you not see the value is too much?" He could see, and he could barely breathe. The slightest touch of light had set part of the drawer ablaze. A ruby as big as an idol's eye lay inside. There were other rubies in the necklace, magnificent rubies, but next to the centerpiece, they faded into insignificance. Surrounded by pearls like snow around fire, the huge ruby pendant shimmered and cast its ancient spell of wealth and danger. Muttering, he moved to close the drawer. It stuck, or appeared to. He tucked the flashlight under his arm, aiming the light away from the jewelry. Then he jiggled and shoved and yanked until the drawer was closed, and the necklace was deep in a concealed pocket in his pants. The first in a long, deadly row of dominoes began to fall. Chapter 1. Seattle, February. Owen Walker lived in a bare-bones efficiency apartment overlooking Pioneer Square, one of Seattle's less upscale tourist attractions. The front door was unimpressive. No happy barks or impatient kitty yowls greeted Walker's approaching footsteps. The closest thing he had to a pet was the refrigerator mold that grew while he was overseas on assignment for Donovan International. Lately, that had been most of the time. Other than installing a new, stronger deadbolt when he took over the apartment, Walker had spent little effort making the place into an urban cocoon. The bed was big enough for his 6-foot frame. It also served as a couch to stretch out on and watch TV if he was home long enough to get involved in the misfortunes of the Seahawks or the Mariners or the Sonics. Recently, he had been lucky to keep up with his own problems, much less those of the teams whose members were traded around faster than hot gossip. Today hadn't been any different. Even the problems had problems. The latest one was the assignment Archer Donovan had dropped on him this afternoon. "See if the rubies Davis Montague sent Faith match any on the international hot list. I don't want my sister's reputation as a designer ruined by using stolen goods. Montague sent what she described as 14 superior rubies, between 1 and 4 carats. They're loose now, but could have been part of a single piece of jewelry." Since Archer didn't want his little sister to know that he was sticking his nose in her business without her invitation, Walker didn't have the actual rubies to work with. All he had was a verbal description. Walker had spent the past 4 hours on Donovan International's phones with various global cops. He hadn't accomplished anything but to make his injured legs stiffen up. So far, the rubies had come up clean. He had the calloused ear to prove it. Tonight, he would check them out on the internet. But first, food. Automatically, he threw the locks on the door behind him, hung his cane over the doorknob, and limped to the refrigerator to see if anything looked like a late lunch or an early dinner. Whichever. His body still wasn't certain which continent it was on, despite the clean black slacks, crisp dark blue shirt that matched his eyes, and close-cut black beard. He felt like something the cat had dragged in, and the rat refused to eat.